I'm going to show you how to stop wasting so much time in Blender by creating an asset library that lets you reuse parts in different projects instead of remodeling them over and over again. So we've got the simple screw model here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this into an asset library so we can use it in different projects. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to make a new collection in the scene here. We're just going to call it assets. You don't have to do it this way exactly, but in case you've got multiple assets in the same file, this is how I do it. We're going to make a new collection under that, and we're just going to call it socket head screw. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the parts that the screw is made up of. So it's made up of two parts. We've got the grooves here and the body of the screw. And then this empty as well is also part of it. And we're going to move that into the collection we just created. By the way, if you like my videos and you want me to help you directly with your own projects, top link in the description is the Blender for Engineers community if you're interested. What we're going to do is we're now going to take this file and we're going to save it as an asset library. So we're going to go up to Edit, Preferences, and then under File Paths, and then Asset Libraries, there's this plus here, we're going to click that, and we now get the file view. So the way this works is, say I've got my models folder here, this is the Asset Library tutorial folder, and if I add this folder as an asset library, so if you go in here and you said Add Asset Library, it selects that folder, so now everything inside this folder, so if I was to add any new folders, like say I wanted to add a blend file that contains nuts or bolts or something like that, then I could add that in a separate files here, and then all of them would be contained within the same file, or the same asset library. So, important part here, make sure under import method that it is append reuse data. Now the reason we do that is in case the file has any textures, like say you want to add some fancy edgeware with some textures onto the model, instead of reloading that texture multiple times, it'll use one instance of it and then apply that to all the models, and that massively reduces your load time and your file sizes. So if you want, you can rename this. We are just going to call it fasteners. So in case we were adding some other stuff in there, and then we can just close this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to drag this out at a new window. We are going to add the asset browser, right? And the Blender comes with a bunch of default stuff, and if you set it to all, it just throws a bit of a mess here. So now, if we go up to here where it says all libraries, we're going to set it to current file, right? Then, now that we've got our socket head screw ready, we are going to right click the collection and we're going to hit mark as asset. And you see it comes up here. So now you can create subcategories, right? And generally what I'd do is I would create one that says fasteners here, just in case when it comes up, if you go to all libraries here, I've got some other ones here and it'll come up. So this is your fasteners library specifically. And then go back to current file. Within that, you can create one that's like, say, screws, just for example here, and then we'll make another sub one. Okay, screws, right? And then if we go into unassigned here, and we take this and we drag it into socket head screws, and now it comes up under that. So any asset library or any collection that you click that's above this one, they'll all come up in. So you've got multiple ones, it'll all come up in that, and then you can kind of get more specific as it goes down. And then under here, you can have multiple. Say we had different socket head screws of different lengths and widths and that kind of thing. You can have them all in here. So now, just to show that this has worked, I'm going to save this file. We're going to go to a new file, and then we're going to go into my layout tab here, which I've set up in my blend file. A lot of your Blender probably won't look like this by default, but I've basically just added this and saved it as a separate window. So we're going to go into fasteners, and as you can see here, get rid of the default cube, socket head screw, we can pull that in. And if we just see its location here. Now, because of the way it's brought in, it's instanced, so it's effectively an empty. So if you go into the data tab here, you can reduce this down to say like 10 millimeters or something like that, just so it doesn't stick out. And if you go into the material view here, you can see we've got our metal material on there. Now the good thing about this is it actually updates. So say if you slightly changed your model or whatever, if we go into the original file here, and let's say we move this down to like there or something like that for whatever reason. Right, let me save this. We go and create a new file. Do the same thing. It updates there, as you can see. It's all moved down. So that means you can update things, like it updates all the data as well. So it updates like your textures, your materials, that sort of thing. So if you wanted to change the material of all your bolts to like a newer, kind of fancier material setup you've got, or maybe you want to update the threads. As you can see here, the threads are sort of faked. They don't actually spiral around. They're just sort of like grooved like that. But if you wanted to update your topology or update your model for whatever reason, then you can do that in the file. And as long as you save it, because we have that, go into preferences here, because we have that as append reuse data, that means it'll update every single time. So now if we go back into here, and let's just say we just fix that, bring that back to where it is, and create a new file. Let's say we've got a cylinder shape here, just a sort of generic gasket type thing. Then we can go to layout, we can pull in our fastener, which makes it quite a lot smaller. I'll put it there, and then we can just add stuff like this. Sorry, anyway. And then obviously this is why you would want to reduce the default size of this. You can reduce this to like millimeters or whatever. Just copy that all the way around. And there you go. So instead of having to remodel these in every single file and apply the textures again and make your material setup again, you can just have it in one place where it'll automatically update in every file you have. So if you're an engineer like me and you're interested in potentially learning Blender, have a look at some of the other videos on my channel. I've got plenty of videos oriented towards engineers. And if you really want to speak directly to me and have me help you with your projects and that kind of thing, I really recommend you check out Blender for Engineers. It's the top link in the description.